Chapter 6. The Voice from the Wall.
I remember my mother telling me the story of my great-grandfather and how he sentenced a beggar to die by 1,000 cuts. Later that night, the beggar spirit rose from the grave and embraced my great-grandfather with the jagged pieces of his arms and pulled him through the wall.
How did great-grandfather die? Give me more gory details.
Why does it matter? He's already dead.
I always wanted to know the worst possible outcome. If I knew it, then I could avoid it. Like that time when my mother locked the basement, securing it with a chain and 2 locks. I tried to see what was inside, but then
I began to see terrible things with my Chinese eyes, devils dancing feverishly in the sandbox, beetles with the faces of children, monkey rings that would split into 2 and send children hurtling through space.
Flashback.
My mother was always scared because she lost everything. She immigrated to the US as a displaced person, where she lost her identity and became Betty St. Clair. Her birth year was changed to 1916. No longer a tiger, but a dragon.
My mother couldn't speak English, my father couldn't speak Chinese, so my father would put words into her mouth. 家不好.
What is she saying? She likes pie.
When I was 10, we moved from Oakland to North Beach. My mother didn't like our new house, since she thought it was unbalanced. She spent a whole week rearranging furniture. She began to settle until we met a drunk man on the streets. The rearranging began again.
You can never get ahead in this slanted house. You are always rolled backward.
My mother became pregnant.
And stay out.
It was then that I began hearing the voices from the wall. Night after night, the voices came back to life. When would it stop?
Let's go to the thought bubble. No brain, the doctor shouted. His head is just an empty eggshell. What is she saying?
How could I tell my father my mother was crazy? From then on, both my parents began to fall apart.
Who is it?
it's Teresa. What are you doing?
My mom and I had a fight. She kicked me out, so I'm gonna scare her.
Won't she be mad?
No, we do this all the time. She'll be glad I'm alive.
Teresa climbed out my window and back into her room. Later that night, the arguing started again. Only this time, it transformed into laughing and crying.
I can still feel the hope that beat in me that night. In my mind, I saw a girl pull out a sharp sword and slice her mother into pieces, a death of 1,000 cuts. The mother screamed and shouted, but then she opened her eyes. She saw no blood, no shredded flesh.
I have already experienced the worst. After this, there's no worst possible thing.
Now you must come back to the other side. Then you can see why you were wrong.